I'm not here to tell you that money is everything. It's not. But I will tell you that financial abundance is something worthy of your attention. Not for greed's sake, but for the freedom it provides, for the options it creates, for the good it can do. Money is simply a tool, perhaps one of the most powerful tools we have in modern society. And like any tool, it's how you use it that matters. So today I want to share with you the habits, the disciplines, the mindsets of the wealthy. Not so you can imitate them blindly, but so you can understand the principles that guide them. Because principles, my friends, are what change everything. The philosophy of wealth creation. Let me begin with something fundamental. Wealth is not primarily about luck. It's about philosophy. It's about the way you think, the way you view the world, the way you approach problems and opportunities. The poor say, I can't afford it. The rich ask, how can I afford it? You see the difference? One statement closes doors, the other opens them. One is final, defeating. The other is a question that engages the mind, that searches for solutions, that refuses to accept limitations as permanent. This difference in philosophy is where it all begins. The wealthy have developed a mindset that seeks opportunity, that believes in possibility, that takes responsibility. And this doesn't happen overnight. It's cultivated, nurtured, developed over time through consistent habits. Philosophy drives behavior. Behavior produces results. It's simple and as profound as that. Consider this. Two people face the same economic downturn. One sees only disaster. The other sees opportunity in disguise. Which one do you think emerges stronger when the market recovers? The wealthy aren't immune to economic challenges, but their philosophy allows them to navigate those challenges differently. I remember a young man who came to me years ago complaining about his circumstances. Mr. Rohn, he said, you don't understand how bad things are in my industry right now. I asked him, are things bad for everybody in your industry or just for you? That question changed everything for him. Because he realized that even in the same industry, facing the same external conditions, some people were thriving while others were merely surviving. The difference wasn't the wind, it was the set of the sail. The discipline of financial education. Now let's talk about what might be the most important habit of the wealthy. They educate themselves about money. Continuously, deliberately, systematically. Most people spend more time planning their next vacation than planning their financial future. The wealthy do the opposite. They invest time in understanding how money works. They study investments. They learn about tax strategies. They become students of wealth creation. Financial ignorance is expensive. Financial education is profitable. It's really that simple. Consider this. If you improve your financial intelligence by just 10%, how much might that increase your net worth over the next decade? 20%, 50%, 100%. The return on investment for financial education is simply extraordinary. And here's what's fascinating. This education is available to everyone. Books, seminars, courses, mentors, the information is there for anyone who seeks it. The wealthy aren't wealthy because they have access to secret knowledge. They're wealthy because they apply the knowledge that's available to all of us. I often tell people, don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills. Don't wish for less challenge, wish for more wisdom. The wealthy understand this. They don't expect the path to be easy. They expect themselves to grow, to develop, to become more capable. And financial education is a crucial part of that growth. The habit of disciplined saving. Now, let's get practical. One of the most fundamental habits of the wealthy is something so basic, yet so powerful, they save money consistently. The philosophy is simple, pay yourself first. Before you pay the landlord, before you pay the electric company, before you pay anyone else, pay yourself. Take a portion of every dollar you earn and save it. Most people do the opposite. They spend first and try to save what's left. But there's rarely anything left. The wealthy save first and spend what's left. This isn't about denying yourself the pleasures of life. It's about understanding delayed gratification. It's about planting seeds today that will grow into trees tomorrow. It's about building a reservoir of capital that can be deployed for opportunities. Let me share a powerful concept with you, the 70/30 rule. Take your income and immediately set aside 30%. 10% for giving, 10% for capital investments, and 10% for savings. Live on the remaining 70%. But Jim, you might say, I can't live on 70% of my income. I need every penny just to get by. And I would say to you, with all respect, if you can't live on 70% of your income, you can't live on 100% either. You'll always be in debt, always be struggling, always be one emergency away from financial disaster. The habit of saving isn't just about accumulating money. It's about developing discipline. It's about taking control of your financial life. It's about creating options for yourself. And here's something remarkable. This habit alone, practiced consistently over time, can make you wealthy. Even with an average income, the power of compound interest working on your savings can create substantial wealth over the decades. That's the miracle of consistency. The power of multiple streams of income. Now let's look at another critical habit of the wealthy. They develop multiple streams of income. The average millionaire has 7 different sources of income. 7, they don't rely on just a paycheck. They build systems, investments, and assets that generate money, whether they're working that day or not. This didn't happen by accident. It happened by design. It happened because they made it a priority, a focus, a discipline. Think about it. If you have one source of income and something happens to it, you're in trouble. If you have 7 sources of income and something happens to one of them, you still have 6. That's security. That's peace of mind. That's freedom. So how do you develop multiple streams of income? It starts with that financial education we talked about. You learn about different vehicles for wealth creation, real estate, stocks, bonds, business ownership, intellectual property, and more. You start small with whatever capital you have. You learn, you grow, you reinvest. I'm reminded of a story about a young couple who started with just a small amount of savings. They bought one rental property. They managed it well, saved the profits, and bought another. Then another. 20 years later, they owned dozens of properties generating substantial passive income. They didn't start wealthy. They became wealthy through the consistent application of this principle. The key is to start. Most people never do. They dream about financial freedom, but they never take the first step. The wealthy take that step, then another, then another. Remember, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. The habit of mindful spending. Now, here's a habit that might surprise you. The truly wealthy are often very careful with their money. They're mindful about spending. This contradicts the popular image of the wealthy as extravagant spenders, doesn't it? But study after study shows that many millionaires live below their means. They drive practical cars. They live in modest homes. They watch their expenses carefully. Why? Because they understand the difference between assets and liabilities. They understand that an asset puts money in your pocket. A liability takes money out of your pocket. The poor and middle class buy liabilities they think are assets. They buy cars that depreciate, electronics that become obsolete, luxuries that decrease in value. The wealthy buy assets that appreciate, that generate income, that grow over time. Now, I'm not suggesting you live like a miser. Life is meant to be enjoyed. But there's a profound difference between spending thoughtfully on things that bring real value to your life and spends mindlessly on things that society tells you to want. The wealthy ask better questions about their spending. Is this aligned with my values? Is this moving me toward my goals? Is this the best use of this resource? I often tell people, don't spend major time on minor things. Don't spend major money on minor things either. This habit, mindful spending, creates margin in your financial life, and that margin is what gives you options, flexibility, and freedom. The discipline of continuous learning. Let's talk about another critical habit of the wealthy. They are lifelong learners. They constantly seek to improve their knowledge, skills, and understanding. The wealthy invest in themselves. They read books, attend seminars, hire coaches, join masterminds. They understand that their most valuable asset isn't in their bank account, it's between their ears. I've often said that formal education will make you a living, but self-education will make you a fortune. The wealthy embody this principle. They don't stop learning when they leave school. In many ways, that's when their real education begins. Consider this, the average American reads less than 1 book per year. The average CEO reads 4 to 5 books per month. Is that a coincidence? I think not. Reading is to the mind what exercise is to the body. It strengthens, it expands, it develops. And in our knowledge economy, a developed mind is a tremendous asset. But it's not just about reading, it's about applying what you learn. It's about translating knowledge into action. The wealthy don't just consume information, they implement it, they test it, they refine it. And they're not just learning about business and finance. They're learning about psychology, communication, history, science. They're developing a broad base of knowledge that allows them to see connections others miss, to understand dynamics others overlook. In my decades of working with successful people, I've noticed something fascinating. The more successful they become, the more they recognize how much they don't know. And that humility, that awareness of their own limitations, drives them to learn more, to grow more, to develop more. So ask yourself, what are you currently learning? How are you investing in your mind? What books are you reading? What courses are you taking? What mentors are you seeking out? Your income rarely exceeds your personal development. If you want your income to grow, you must grow first. The power of association. Now, let's discuss what might be the most influential habit of all. The wealthy are intentional about who they spend time with. Your peer group is enormously powerful. It shapes your thinking, your beliefs, your expectations, your behaviors. As the saying goes, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. The wealthy understand this. They seek out relationships with people who elevate them, who challenge them, who inspire them to become more. They join masterminds, industry groups, and communities of practice where they can connect with others who share their ambition and values. Just as importantly, they distance themselves from negative influences. They limit time with people who drain their energy, who reinforce limiting beliefs, who discourage ambition. This isn't about snobbery or elitism. It's about understanding a simple truth. We become like the people we surround ourselves with. If you want to be healthy, spend time with healthy people. If you want to be positive, spend time with positive people. And if you want to be wealthy, spend time with people who are building wealth. I remember a conversation I had with a young entrepreneur who was struggling in his business. When I asked about his peer group, he admitted that most of his friends were negative about business, skeptical of success, and comfortable with mediocrity. No wonder he was finding it hard to maintain his motivation and belief. He was swimming against the current of his social environment. When he changed his associations, when he began spending time with ambitious, growth-minded entrepreneurs, everything shifted. His thinking expanded, his beliefs strengthened, his actions became more aligned with his goals. Who you spend time with is who you become. Choose wisely. The habit of goal setting. Let's talk about another fundamental habit of the wealthy. They set clear, specific, written goals. And they review these goals regularly. Most people have vague wishes. The wealthy have precise targets. Most people think about what they want occasionally. The wealthy focus on what they want systematically. There's something powerful about writing down your goals. It transforms them from ethereal thoughts into concrete intentions. It signals to your mind, this matters, this is real, this is happening. The wealthy don't just set financial goals. They set goals for their health, their relationships, their personal growth, their contribution to others. They understand that true wealth is multidimensional. But they're especially disciplined about their financial goals. They know exactly where they want to be in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. They break these long-term goals down into quarterly targets, monthly milestones, weekly objectives, daily actions. This habit, systematic goal setting, creates clarity, and clarity creates power. When you know exactly what you're aiming for, you can focus your resources, your time, your energy with laser-like precision. I often tell people, don't just set goals. Set the right goals. Goals that align with your values. Goals that excite you. Goals that in the pursuit of them will cause you to become more than you are today. Remember, the purpose of a goal isn't just to get something. It's to become something. In the pursuit of your financial goals, you'll develop discipline, resourcefulness, resilience, and a host of other qualities that serve you in every area of life. The power of time management. Now, let's examine another crucial habit of the wealthy. They manage their time with exceptional care. Time is our most precious resource. We all get the same amount each day, 24 hours, no more, no less. The wealthy understand this. They guard their time jealously. They allocate it deliberately. They invest it wisely. One of my favorite questions to ask is this: where is this activity taking me? Is it moving me toward my goals or away from them? Is it making me more or less of what I want to become? The wealthy ask these questions constantly. They evaluate activities based not just on whether they're pleasant or easy, but on whether they're productive and aligned with their aims. This doesn't mean the wealthy never relax or enjoy leisure. Of course they do, but even their leisure is often intentional, designed to rejuvenate them, to inspire them, to connect them with people they value. I've observed that many successful people follow what I call the 80/20 principle of time management. They identify the 20% of activities that produce 80% of their results, and they focus disproportionately on those high-leverage activities. For an entrepreneur, that might be product development and customer acquisition. For an investor, it might be research and analysis. For a professional, it might be skill development and relationship building. Whatever your path to wealth, there are certain high-value activities that drive the majority of your progress. Identify them, prioritize them, protect time for them. Remember, we don't manage time, we manage ourselves in time. And the habit of managing yourself effectively within the time you have is one of the most distinctive characteristics of those who achieve financial success. The discipline of delayed gratification. Let's discuss another fundamental habit of the wealthy. They practice delayed gratification. They're willing to sacrifice in the short term for rewards in the long term. This goes against our cultural conditioning, doesn't it? We're surrounded by messages telling us to buy now, enjoy now, live for today. And there's some wisdom in appreciating the present moment, but the wealthy balance that with a profound respect for the future. They understand something that most people don't. The decisions you make today shape the life you live tomorrow, and next year, and next decade. So they make decisions with the long view in mind. They're willing to live below their means today so they can live beyond their means tomorrow. They're willing to do what others won't do now so they can do what others can't do later. I often use the metaphor of planting and harvesting. Most people want to harvest before they've adequately planted. They want the rewards without the work, the results without the process. The wealthy understand the seasons of wealth creation. There's a time to plant, a time to tend, a time to wait, and a time to harvest. They don't expect immediate results. They know that the most valuable things, including financial abundance, take time to develop. This patience, this willingness to delay gratification sets them apart. It allows them to make decisions based not on immediate pleasure, but on long-term benefit. And here's what's fascinating. Research shows that this ability to delay gratification is one of the strongest predictors of financial success. More than IQ, more than talent, more than background or connections. The good news is that this is a habit you can develop. Like a muscle, your capacity for delayed gratification grows stronger with use. Each time you choose the future over the present, each time you save rather than spend, each time you invest rather than consume, you strengthen this crucial muscle. The habit of risk management. Now let's talk about a habit that might surprise you. The wealthy are thoughtful about managing risk. They're not reckless gamblers, they're calculated risk takers. There's a perception that building wealth requires taking enormous risks. That's rarely the case. Most sustainable wealth is built through careful assessment of opportunities of thorough due diligence and prudent risk management. The wealthy don't try to avoid all risk, that's impossible. But they work to understand risk, to quantify it when possible, to mitigate it where appropriate, and to ensure that potential rewards justify whatever risk remains. They also diversify. They don't put all their eggs in one basket. They spread their investments across different asset classes, industries, and geographies. They create redundancies and backup plans. Think about it this way. The wealthy play to win, but they also play not to lose. They focus not just on offense, making money, but also on defense, keeping money. This balanced approach allows them to be bold when opportunities arise because they built systems to protect them from catastrophic loss. I often tell people, take risks, but take the right risks. Risks that you understand. Risks where you have some knowledge or edge. Risks where the potential upside significantly outweighs the potential downside. And most importantly, never risk what you can't afford to lose. The wealthy build their foundation first, emergency savings, insurance, stable investments, before reaching for more speculative opportunities. This habit, thoughtful risk management, is what allows wealth to compound over time. It's what prevents temporary setbacks from becoming permanent failures. The power of value creation. Let's examine what might be the most fundamental habit of all. The wealthy focus on creating value for others. This is the secret hiding in plain sight. Sustainable wealth comes from providing something of value to other people. The more value you create, the more wealth you can accumulate. The market rewards problem solving. It rewards innovation. It rewards anything that makes life better, easier, healthier, more enjoyable for others. Look at any self-made wealthy person, and you'll find someone who figured out how to solve a problem or fulfill a desire for a significant number of people. That's the essence of entrepreneurship. That's the essence of value investing. That's the essence of any legitimate path to wealth. The size of your financial reward is generally proportional to how many people you serve, how well you serve them, how difficult it would be to replace you. The wealthy understand this equation. They constantly ask, how can I serve more people? How can I serve them better? How can I make myself more valuable, more difficult to replace? This mindset, focusing on contribution rather than acquisition, paradoxically leads to greater wealth. When you're genuinely concerned with creating value, you make better business decisions. You build stronger relationships. You develop deeper expertise. You attract more opportunities. I often tell people, don't ask what the market can give you. Ask what you can give the market. When you flip that question, everything changes. And here's the beautiful thing. This approach aligns wealth creation with meaning and purpose. When your financial goals are connected to serving others, to solving real problems, to making a positive difference, you tap into a source of motivation far more powerful than money alone. The habit of accountability. Now, let's talk about a habit that separates the achievers from the dreamers. The wealthy hold themselves accountable for results. They don't blame circumstances. They don't make excuses. They don't point fingers. They take ownership of their financial lives completely and without reservation. This doesn't mean they believe they control everything. They recognize that external events, economic shifts, technological changes, competitive dynamics influence outcomes. But they focus relentlessly on what they can control, their actions, their decisions, their responses to those external events. I often tell people, don't wish for fewer problems, wish for more skills. Don't wish for fewer challenges, wish for more wisdom. The wealthy embody this philosophy. When they face setbacks, and they all do, they don't ask, why is this happening to me? They ask, what can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? How can I use this to become better, stronger, more capable? This habit, taking complete responsibility, is empowering. It puts you in the driver's seat of your financial life. It transforms you from victim to creator, from passenger to pilot. And it's contagious. When you take responsibility, others around you tend to do the same. Your team members, your business partners, your family members, they all respond to the example you set. I've observed that organizations led by people with this habit tend to be more innovative, more adaptable, more resilient. They solve problems quickly because they're not wasting time and energy on blame. They're focused entirely on solutions. In your own financial journey, this habit alone can be transformative. When you stop blaming and start taking ownership, you unlock creativity, resourcefulness, and determination you might not have known you possessed. The power of giving. Let me share with you what might be the most counterintuitive habit of the wealthy. They give generously. They contribute to causes, communities, and individuals beyond themselves. Now, I recognize that there's a stereotype of the wealthy as selfish and greedy. And certainly there are examples that fit that stereotype. But in my experience working with truly successful people over many decades, I've found that the most fulfilled, the most respected, and often the most financially successful are also the most generous. They understand something profound. Giving isn't just a moral imperative, it's also a catalyst for receiving. When you give, whether it's money, time, knowledge, or support, you create connections. You build goodwill. You establish yourself as someone who adds value to the world. And there's something even deeper at work. Giving shapes your self-concept. When you see yourself as someone who has enough to share, you reinforce an abundance mindset. You tell yourself consciously or unconsciously, I have more than enough. That mindset then influences countless other decisions in ways that often lead to greater prosperity. I often recommend that people practice systematic giving, setting aside a specific percentage of their income for charitable purposes. Start with whatever you can, even if it's just 1%, and increase it as your income grows. This habit, consistent giving, doesn't just benefit others. It benefits you. It reinforces gratitude. It builds perspective. It connects you to something larger than yourself. And here's what's fascinating. Studies have found that giving activates the same reward centers in the brain as receiving. It literally feels good to give. When you make it a habit, you're not sacrificing happiness for virtue. You're achieving both simultaneously. The integration of habits. Now, as we bring our discussion to a close, I want to emphasize something crucial. These habits we've explored don't exist in isolation. They work together, reinforce each other, multiply each other's effects. Financial education makes you a better investor. Saving gives you capital to invest. Multiple streams of income accelerate your saving. Mindful spending creates more margin for investment. Continuous learning improves your capacity to create value. Strong associations support your growth mindset. Clear goals direct your focus. Time management ensures you take consistent action. Delayed gratification enables long-term thinking. Risk management protects your progress. Value creation drives sustainable growth. Accountability keeps you on track. Giving keeps you grounded and connected. Together, these habits form a system for building wealth, and systems, my friends, are what produce reliable results. Here's what I've observed over decades of studying success. Extraordinary results don't come from extraordinary efforts. They come from ordinary efforts applied consistently over time. The wealthy aren't doing things you couldn't do. They're doing things you don't do consistently, systematically, as a matter of habit. And that's the good news. Habits can be developed. Systems can be implemented. Disciplines can be cultivated. Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. But start. Maybe you begin with just one of these habits, perhaps saving 10% of your income, or reading for 30 minutes each day, or writing down your goals weekly. As that habit becomes established, add another, then another. Over time, these small changes compound into remarkable transformation. Just as money grows through compound interest, character grows through compound habits. The ultimate purpose. Before we part, let me share one final thought. Wealth, properly understood, is not an end in itself. It's a means to an end. And that end, I believe, is freedom and contribution. Freedom to choose how you spend your time. Freedom to pursue what matters most to you. Freedom to help others in ways that align with your values and vision. The habits we've discussed today aren't just about accumulating money. They're about building a life of meaning, purpose, and impact. They're about becoming someone who can make a difference. I encourage you to embrace these habits not just for what they'll help you have, but for who they'll help you become. Because in the end, the greatest value isn't in your bank account, it's in your character. Ladies and gentlemen, the path to wealth is clear. It's marked by these habits, these disciplines, these ways of thinking and acting that have been proven over generations. The question isn't whether these principles work. The question is whether you'll work these principles. I believe you will. I believe you have what it takes to build the financial future you desire. And I look forward to hearing your success stories in the years to come. Thank you for your time and attention today. May your journey to wealth be rewarding in every sense of the word.